Hi there, I'm Andrea Koppel, and it's time for coffee, the podcast where you get to hear firsthand what the jobs and careers that interest you the most are really like. Hey there, Java junkies. Welcome to another K-Cup mini episode of Time for Coffee. By the way, K-Cups come in 3 sizes, single, double, and triple shots, or roughly 1 minute, 5 minutes, or 10 minutes in length. So if you don't have time to throw back an entire caffeinated career conversation, these K-Cup mini episodes of T4C can give you a quick caffeinated fix, whether you're on the go or you only have a few minutes to binge. So grab your mug and take a chug, because it's time for a caffeinated career double shot K-Cup with my guest, Michael K. Michael, I just have a couple final questions for you, and these are questions that I try to ask all my Time for Coffee guests. Could you share a time in your professional life when you struggled? Because we've all had them, and I want to show our young listeners that even people like Michael K., who made it to the top of his industry, fell down and had to pick himself up. And more importantly, how you got through the other side and maybe a lesson that you learned in the process.
After the years in newspapers, I unexpectedly got the job to do the Yankee games on radio. And the first year on the air, remember, the only other sports announcing that I had done was at Fordham. So by the time I got the Yankee radio job was 92. That was 10 years after Fordham. I was stiff. I was nervous. The play-by-play was very, very tough. And people were writing letters to the radio station, how bad I was. How could they have given me this job? And you really start to doubt yourself. And I'll always remember this one gentleman, the guy who hired me at WABC. His name was Don Balukas. And he called me into his office. And he said, "Listen, I know you're struggling right now." He said, "But I got to ask you a question." I said, "What's that?" He said, "Are you giving up on yourself?" And I said, "No, I never give up on myself." And he goes, "If you don't give up on yourself, I will never give up on you." He said, "I made a commitment to you, and I will stay with you, and you will get through this, and you will make it work." And that gave me the confidence that I didn't have this sort of Damocles hanging over my head, that it was going to end at any moment, that the guy who was my boss was in my corner. And I think that when you're struggling, you always have to have somebody that's in your corner. And this guy told me, "Stop worrying, just go out and get better." And I worked at it and I got better. And you have to fight the demons and you have to fight the doubters. And again, this was before social media. It would have been worse then, where you could look down at your phone and see how much people hate you. So I just think that you have to have a good support staff. You have to have a good family around you to tell you that things will get better. Because if you fall into that abyss of doubt, then you know what? You're going to end up failing. But the strong words of the person who hired me, that he was still had my back, that got me through it.
Did you mean it when you said that you didn't have self-doubt? Or were you trying just to kind of keep a stiff upper lip?
No, I definitely had self-doubt. But he said, would I quit? I would never quit on myself. I mean, the way I was raised, you don't quit on anything. You keep doing it until you get it right. So yeah, I doubt it. But anything I ever do, Andrea, I will never, ever, ever fail because of lack of work. I will never, ever take the shortcut. And then you could point out, "Oh, that's why Michael botched that up, because he didn't put in the time." But I'm a human being. And if anything, I have thin skin and I doubt myself. And I'm harder on myself than most people. But in terms of the work, when he said, "Will you ever give up on yourself?" No, I wouldn't give up. But I certainly had serious doubt. That's for sure.
Yeah. By the way, thank you so much for sharing that. That was, I think, again, we've all had, if you get long in the tooth enough, we've all had these experiences and it stings. And I totally agree with you that you need to have a thick skin. And if you don't have a thick skin, just try to keep putting one foot in front of the other. And eventually it will be in the rearview mirror and you will be experiencing some kind of a success that will help you get over that next hurdle.
Andrea, my skin is so thin you could see through it.
So how do you deal with that?
It's tough. You know what? I try to ignore it, but my first fight or flight reaction is to fight. And the best thing is to fly. It just let it go. Doesn't mean anything. The only ones that count are the people that pay you. And if they're happy with your work, then that's fine. But this is the wrong business to be in if you're very sensitive. And I have learned that. I've made it work. I've been able to play mind games to get away from it. But in life, you want everybody to love you. But this is not a business where everybody loves you. The most popular people on the air, there are people that despise them. So you could have 100 people tell me how great I am. And if one person tells me you stink, that's the one that I remember. That's the one I want to win over. So maybe it drives me more because I want to change the opinion of that one person that hates me.
Thanks for tuning in to this K-Cup mini episode of Time for Coffee. If you want to listen to our entire caffeinated career conversation, please check out the show notes for this episode. Thanks so much for listening to Time for Coffee, where the professionals in the jobs that most interest you always have time to grab coffee 24/7, no matter where you live. I have one quick favor to ask you. Remember to rate, review, and subscribe to Time for Coffee. Thanks so much.